Hey family, how are y'all? Hope everybody is good. Got a story that I want to share with you. This comes from the European Council of the European Union, and it is about digital IDs. It came out on November the 8th, 2023. It says the European Digital Identity Council and the Parliament reach a provisional agreement on EID. So you remember I told you they're doing this stuff, rolling this stuff out all over the world because America's going to be last. We are Mystery Babylon, and we're going to be destroyed utterly in one day. So a lot of the things that are happening elsewhere first because the world knows how Americans are, how our systems have been, and it's not going to be easy. Well, I think it wasn't going to be easy. I actually think it's going to be very easy for them to roll out these types of deals because they've already, and when I say they, the powers, our congressional representatives have already rolled out these bills for these things and they're just sitting. So they're going to be stuck in something, tucked into something that most people aren't aware of. And then the next thing you know, it becomes law. So, but that's one of the downsides of people not reading and not keeping up with what happens in regards to politics, because those things that really do matter often go overlooked because the powers that be have control over the evil communications and they redirect your attention when it suits them. So, as all this stuff is going on all over the world, you're going to see more and more of these types of things just kind of pop up and nobody really talks about it. Um, so, I wanted to share this. I saw this in two different places. I can't remember the content creator. Her name is Lily, but she's from Europe, and she was talking about the digital ID and the digital wallet, and they're getting ready to implement over in Europe what they've done in Kenya and Nigeria and in India and some of the other places, I guess China, with the digital ID, the digital wallet, the social credit score, and so it is coming. I was going to say slowly, but it's not happening slowly anymore. It's rapidly coming, and as it approaches us you start to see all these glitches with the banks and all these different things, and it's just it's twofold. Part of it is it's preparing us to be without, well, threefold. Two, it is setting the narrative. So hackers, mistakes, these things are making the system unreliable. Every now and then there's a problem, but there's really not a problem. And three, it's kind of getting us accustomed to being without cash and all these stories about digital this and how things are going to be better once we transition. So they are working on an accelerated pace to usher in this agenda. And I'm assuming, between 2024 and 2025 is when they want to do it. Just based on how it feels like you're starting to see all these stories, and I don't think their plans are working out the way that they wanted them to, but it doesn't matter at this point because they control whatever narratives that are out there, and they also have the power to institute any of these things that they want to institute, and make our lives miserable. Now, we do have some power to refuse, reject, complain, cry out. It's not like we don't have any options. We do. We do not have to participate or go along with it, and we don't have to make it so easy. Even if we don't, even if we're not going to win, we can still refuse to use as many of these items as often as we can. So let me read this story to you. So it says, with a view to ensuring a trusted and secure digital identity for all Europeans. Now, please tell me how they're going to be secured and trusted when everybody is getting hacked right now. Everybody, whole states are having their identities hacked. The credit unions are being hacked. Um, Businesses, corporations are being hacked, hospitals are being hacked, everybody is being hacked. So why on earth would we think that having a digital identity is going to be secure and trusted? It's not. So, you know, it's just crazy how they have the audacity to write this stuff when we can see with our own eyes that is anything but true. It says the Council presidency and European Parliament representatives reached today a provisional agreement on a new framework for a European digital ID, which they're going to call EID. With the approval of the European Digital Identity Regulation, we are taking a fundamental step so that citizens can have a unique and secure European digital identity. This is a key advance for the European Union to be a global reference in the digital field, protecting our democratic rights and values. So what's wrong with the other IDs we had? Like, and who was complaining about the other ones? Who? Nobody. But notice that they mentioned that they want to be a global reference. So this quote is from Nadia Calvino, acting Spanish first vice president and minister for economy and digitalization. So you see, she's the first one of many, apparently. Here we go. The European Digital Identity Wallet. There's go. You put in your wallet your ID and your money and all your important little things that fit in your wallet. So the revised regulation constitutes a clear paradigm shift for digital identity in Europe, aiming to ensure universal access for people and businesses to secure trustworthy electronic identification and authentication. Under the new law, member states will offer citizens and businesses digital wallets that will be able to link their national digital identities with proof of other personal attributes, such as driver licenses, diplomas, bank account. That's very scary. Citizens will be able to prove their identity and share electronic documents with their digital wallets with a click of a button on their mobile phone. There's your problem right there. So now they got everybody addicted to phones. You got to have it for social media. You go to it for weather. You go through it to it for Facebook so you can see who's doing what. You got to go on X or Twitter, um, all these different apps we have that we've come to rely on. You got Apple Pay and Google Pay and this pay, that pay. You can do your banking online. You got Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all these different things. And so now we're addicted to our phones. And that was the goal so that they can get us to this point where we'll just feel comfortable with a digital wallet. Oh, and don't forget about the cryptocurrency. I'm still a firm believer. I'm going to go to my grave thinking that this blockchain technology and this cryptocurrency was created by these governments or these um, hidden powers to get people addicted to it, because notice they attach these things that they really want to money or to things that people place value on, which is money, currency. And then you get it, you think, oh, it's a great idea, and you can't even see that you're being lured into this trap. Just like with these phones, same thing with the digital currency, or these cryptocurrencies, stable coins. All of it is created by the same evil, wicked people. It's just they've used different methods for different groups to do their pilots on, and everybody's a crash test dummy. We all fail. We've all failed. So when I talk to you about, reducing your reliance on technology, being okay without it, having plans or backup plans for what you're going to do when the day comes when you got to forfeit it, if that, time comes. You got to, have some strong convictions and be ready to protest, because this is a part of the protest. In order to not be marked and be in this system where you can't buy or sell without this mark, your mark is like it's not gonna even be nothing that's in your head or in your hand. Your phone stay in your hand. So you're gonna have things, and people will have different things, which is why I guess it says you can have it in your head or in your hand, so um we got to be really cognizant right now of what's happening when it comes to these different methods of them marking us. And as long as we can resist, we should. If you don't have to have a digital wallet, don't have one. If you can exist without a phone, I would. Um, I'm really thinking about just giving it up. And I know a lot of famous people don't have them for a reason, because they understand what's coming, and because they understand it's just one big old tracking device, which is the whole goal of all of this, so that they can control everything, know everything, collect all this data, and then figure out ways to continue to enslave us. So this is your new master, your cell phone. So it says the new Union, the new European digital identity wallets will enable all Europeans to access online services with their national digital identification, which will be recognized throughout Europe without having to use private identification methods or unnecessarily sharing personal data. User control ensures that only information that needs to be shared will be shared. So you check out, they said that you will be able to access online services. What are those services? I'm sure eventually internet access will be included in that, because we've already seen pilots and suggestions where parents need to have their children ID so that they can access the internet and access age appropriate things. Concluding the initial provisional agreement. Since the initial provisional agreement on some of the main elements of the legislative proposal at the end of June this year, a thorough series of technical meetings followed in order to complete a text that allowed the finalization of the file in full. Some relevant aspects agreed by the co legislators today are: one, the e-signatures. The wallet will be free to use for natural persons by default, but member states may provide for measures to ensure that the free of charge use is limited to non-professional purposes. So it's going to be free, which is going to be a lure for everybody, because we all cheap. Walmart got us all addicted to low prices. Globalization got us addicted to cheap stuff. And so everything's going to be free. And people are going to hear that and like, oh, I don't have to carry paper. Oh, I can just get everything put on my phone, not realizing that you're just a slave of a different type now, but still going to be a slave. The wallet's business model: the issuance, use, and revocation, notice they could take it away, will be free of charge for all natural persons. Interesting. So when they talk about revocation, I wonder, do they talk about, is it for us we can revoke? I don't think you'll be able to revoke, because once you give them your information, it's stored somewhere. And even if you ask for them to destroy it or get rid of it, they never do. In fact, they sell the stuff to other people. So it just lives on forever. So once you get trapped into these things, you're not going to get your information back. You can't revoke it. You can't stop using, you can't tell them that you don't want to use it anymore, because once it's out there, it's like your picture on the internet. Somebody can screenshot it and it just stays forever. So that, like, there's no such thing as a revocation. Um, so that's interesting that they say that, but we know that the whole issue with this digitalization is that once you put your information into something to use something, especially when it's free, you never have control over the information. You never ever have control over anything. Once you check that box and say yes, I want to use it, you agree to their terms. You often don't read the terms, and then that's it. So there's no such thing as revocation, in my opinion. Even if they say so, we know that's not true. Nothing that we've used thus far, um, that's digital, you can revoke. Even if they say if you write us, we'll remove your name, blah blah blah. But it doesn't necessarily end their ability to use your info that you provided it for, to them for your own purposes to do business or conduct transactions. It just doesn't happen that way. The validation of electronic attestation of attributes. Member states shall provide free of charge validation mechanisms only to verify the authenticity and validity of the wallet and of the relying parties' identity. The code for the wallets. The application software components will be open source, but member states are granted necessary leeway so that, for justified reasons, specific components other than those installed on user devices may not be disclosed. So, so it means that even though it's open source, it's really not open source, which basically means anybody can have access to the code to see what they're doing. It's not, and they're not gonna it's really not gonna be open source because a lot of the stuff is gonna be programmable. If it's programmable, that means that whoever the member states are can program it the way that they want to or the way that they need to for whatever purposes. And whoever is looking at the code doesn't necessarily have to have that piece. So um, while you may be looking at some code that's open source, some of it is not going to be open or available because people are going to the nations will do whatever they want to create whatever code to make it programmable or whatever else they want to do to it for that matter. Consistency between the wallet as an EID means and the underpinning scheme under which it is issued has been ensured. There's that word scheme again. Finally, the law clarifies the scope of the qualified web authentication certificates, which ensures that users can verify who is behind the website while preserving the current well-established industry security rules and standards. Next steps. Technical work will continue to complete the legal text in accordance with the provisional agreement. When finalized, the text will be submitted to the member states' representatives for endorsement. Subject to a legal linguistic review, the revised regulation will then need to be formally adopted by the Parliament and the Council before it can be published in the EU's official journal and enter into force. So, the background, it says in June 2021, while everybody was up in the house, sick, creeling over, fear for their lives, fighting about having to take the lollipop and wear the mask. Look at what these people were doing. So it says in June 2021, the Commission proposed a framework for European digital identity that would be available to all EU citizens, residents, and businesses via a European digital identity wallet. 2021. All right. The proposed new framework amends the 2014, notice that's 7 years prior, regulation on electronic identification and trust services for electronic transactions in the internal market, which laid the foundations for safely accessing public services and carrying out transactions online and across borders in the EU. The proposal requires member states to issue, so it requires member states to issue a digital wallet under a notified EID scheme built on common technical standards following compulsory certification to set up the necessary technical architecture, speed up the implementation of the revised regulations. So they want to speed it up. Provide guidelines to member states and avoid fragmentation. That means they want it to be interoperable. They want that interoperability. Everything got to work with everybody. The proposal was accompanied by a recommendation for the development of a union toolbox defining the technical specifications of the wallet. Following interinstitutional negotiations, the two co-legislators managed to reach an initial provisional agreement on the key elements of the file on 29 June 2023, subject to further technical adjustments on the draft legislative text of the revised regulation. So they cite some of the sources that they used for this particular article, I guess going back in the history. But also notice that, if they came up with this framework in 2014, 2024 will be 10 years. So this is the other reason why they're trying to speed up everything. Everybody keeps talking about we got to hurry up, we got to speed up the process. It's not working. We got to do more. We got to accelerate it. And so I think after this COP 28 that's coming up, and the Pope gets up there and says whatever he got to say and gives his directives and asserts himself at the head of the table of this climate agenda, but all things this new global world order agenda. We're going to see a lot of accelerated digital wallets, digital ID rollouts all across the world. And I would not be surprised if next year sometime they're pushing it here. Of course, the economy's got to collapse, which is why we need to continue to prep. We need to continue to try to grow our own food. We need to try to find sources of water that don't rely on things that have to do with the government or coming from stores. We should be trying to have wells and find natural sources. In particular, wells, though, even if you don't have a well, somebody has some land and you can, create your own well. You should be trying to do that. Like, we really need to be about our business, trying to be self-sufficient if we are stuck here in Babylon until the Exodus. I'm firmly believing there's going to be an exodus. It might be at the last minute, but it's going to be supernatural. It's going to be beautiful. But until then, you need to prepare for what is coming. There's going to be famine. There's going to be darkness. There's going to be all the doom and gloom that everybody calls us conspiracy theorists. Um, they think it's not real. Those things are coming. And we need to be ready. We need to be prepared. You need to prepare your family. You need to prepare your neighbors with non-perishable items. You need to have candles. You need to have water. The basic things that you need to survive, no matter what. Sanitation, ways to clean your body, take care of people who are ill. Herbal remedies for if there are illnesses. You need to have plenty of blankets and ways to keep yourself warm in the winter. You don't necessarily have to have a way to keep yourself cool in the summer, but you need to be prepared to look out for your elderly neighbors or your elderly family members. It's just so much stuff to do, so many things to work on, so many things to work out in your mind strategically. And you need to try to really work on finding people to work with collaboratively, because they're going to be all sorts of agendas, all sorts of things happening at one time. And we're not going to be caught off guard. Hopefully, if you've been on this channel any amount of time, you've been prepping and transitioning your resources and using your resources for things that you will need for these dark times, these lean times, times of famine. You've been fortifying your spirit with the word. You've been learning, getting back to our ways, law, statutes, and commandments of the Creator. You have been trying to keep Sabbath. And I diligently say trying, because it is hard trying to unlearn all the wrong things that we've been taught, from worshiping on Sunday to worshiping on Saturday to trying to keep the lunar Sabbath. It's really interesting how much we don't know, how much we have to unlearn, and we don't have a lot of time. We need to be crying out and repenting daily, um, because again, we live in Babylon. We've adopted ways that were not our own, because we've been in captivity, and so we have to unlearn a lot of things. A lot of things we say, a lot of things we do, a lot of things we eat. A lot of our ways are just not ways of the Most High. So we have to, um, go back to those ways, but you have to learn them, and we don't have much time to learn them, because they are planning on making the world dark, literally and figuratively. It's already dark, but we ain't seen darkness yet. When they unleash all this stuff um, on us, and again, when the adversary gets the green light to take over this world, when the restrainer is moved, we're going to see all kinds of things we've never seen before. We're going to see people behave all sorts of ways. You already see it now, especially with the Gentiles. The Gentiles know that their time is up. A lot of the Gentiles in America are in denial, but the ones in Europe, they know. and and a lot of people don't have the resources to go anywhere, so they're beginning to understand their new captivity and what that's going to look like, and how their own people have sold them out. That's not going to stop them from taking their aggressions out on us and other uh, groups who have historically aligned themselves with them. So we need to have ourselves positioned so that we don't have to be in the fray. We already know it's going to be smoke, but we need to learn how to be clouds. We also need to learn how to mind our business, mind our own affairs, mind our own people, get back to the ways of the Most High, and prepare, because we're going to have to flee eventually. When things start happening, as you can see, these poles are shifting. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the thousands of earthquakes in Iceland and the volcano getting ready to erupt. The whole country's like splitting in half. This earth is getting ready to shift, and all sorts of things are getting ready to be happening between now and the next eclipse in 2024. So we gotta really be on our P's and Q's. We got to be preparing. If you haven't, look at that Deagle report. I did a video on it. And look at that Doomsday Map 2024. I did a video on it. The Most High ain't playing with us. We are under judgment. So we can either get ourselves together, be on the right side so that we can hear from Him and move when He tells us to move, and, uh, you know, prayerfully miss all the bad stuff that's coming because we're repentant, because we're trying to do right, We're not going to get it right all the time, but there are some basic things that we can do to, position ourselves to miss some of what is coming. And just not assume because you're an Israelite that you're gonna be exempt from judgment. A lot of us are gonna be judged, and I include myself in it. All of us are gonna be judged. All of us are not gonna make it. It says 2/3 of the earth is gonna be gone, so everybody ain't gonna make it. So we gotta be trying to study to show ourselves approved and be found worthy to escape what's coming. And with this digital ID and all this stuff, like, this is not something that you want to be here for. I want to be in the wilderness resting. I'm tired. I don't know about nobody else, but I am tired. I'm tired of watching people not care. It is something. I read a quote about intelligent people. You know, the happiest people on earth are the most ignorant people. And I'm not saying it to be disrespectful, but I'm just saying, when you look around, those of us who are awakened, and you look at how happy people out here worrying about Christmas and Thanksgiving and buying gifts and eating food, getting stuff on sale. And I'm like, do y'all know what's coming? Whatever y'all buying ain't gonna matter. You're gonna eat that little dinner and poop it out, but you didn't put back not one canned good for rough times. Are y'all ready for the cold winter? And what when I talk about cold winter, I'm gonna tell you, we got a pecan tree in the backyard. Do you know there are no pecans on the ground because the squirrels done ate all the pecans? The squirrels are letting us know it's going to be cold this winter. And they took all the pecans. They were eating the green off the pecans before they were even ripe, before they could even hit the ground. I went outside this weekend after we had a lot of rain just to look and see. Ain't hardly any pecans on the ground. That's unusual because last year they were everywhere. This year, there are none, which lets me know as an outdoors person that it's going to be cold. And the animals know because they already stored up the nuts. They didn't even let them fall on the ground. They was like, let's get these and put them in our tree or wherever they hide them so that when it's cold, they can eat. So if you have not been putting, and I'm watching the animals, if the animals are putting away food, you better put you away some. If the animals know it's going to be cold before it gets cold, then um, why is it that we don't know? How come we don't know the signs and the seasons? And the adversary is warning us, like they're literally telling us the grid going to go out. It's going to be cold. They're going to attack the power. Like they're telling us what they're going to do. And people still are ignorant to the fact that these people are telegraphing what they're going to do to us. So even being awakened is like is a form of intelligence to me. And so when you are awakened and you see what's happening, it's very hard to go back asleep. It's very difficult to uh, watch people not care. And there's a grieving that's happening. Like my soul grieves um, every day because I try to explain to people what's important, what matters. The things that we are fixated on typically don't matter. And the things that you should care about, like I still talk to Black people who caring about politics and they're talking about how terrible Donald Trump is. I was like, what about the devil that's in there now? Like, you don't even understand that dude been in office for almost 50 years and he ain't never liked Black people, but somehow that escapes all Black people and all they can do is go to Donald Trump's overt racism for whatever. I was like, but he didn't have no power. He was racist as a private citizen, as a business person. He didn't make racist policies for decades that impacted directly Black men and boys, nobody got nothing to say. So it's like, again, when you talk about ignorance, people not being able to follow us a, a string of thoughts to understand there ain't no good when in this situation. It's you know not the lesser of two evils. It's evil is evil. Don't choose evil. Can't get our people to understand that. And so just very it's very sad. And oftentimes you walk away, um, people judging you. Like, people always tell me I have strong convictions. I do have strong convictions. I know that because I can think macro and I can think micro. And then once you've been a part of this system and you just see how things work, you just step back and you're like, nothing is good. Nothing is good. I know nothing. I'm having to become a student of life all over again. That's where I am. It's like I don't see any good. And as things get worse, if you're intelligent, you're going to grieve more. You're going to be sad more. You're going to be alone more because there's nothing to be happy about. There's nothing to have joy about. We have nothing to celebrate. Like, this is the end of a time period. It is the end of our captivity, which is a joyous occasion, but on the way to the end, it's going to be painful. It's going to be sad. It's going to be a lot of death, illness, hunger. You know, I just can't explain it to you, and I can't explain to you what I see. And a lot of people who are pouring out wisdom are saying the same things. They can't we just can't explain to you what we see, but you just see the devastation. And I pray I have the strength to make the right decisions when the time comes to do all that needs to be done to navigate it all, because there are so few people who see what I see. But I know those very people who can't see nothing now are the same people who will tell me, oh, you're so smart, I'm going to ask you XYZ. So, take this time to learn about what's coming, understand what's happening, because people are going to have questions, and you're going to be the leaders in wherever you are, whether you want to or not, because you're awakened. The Most High designated you to know at this time, and it's not just for your own good, it's for the good of others, because He does not want all of us to perish. He wants to give us an opportunity to learn and to turn from our wicked, evil ways. So, and to worship Him and not this world, not any of the things of this world, not ourselves, not our children, not our families, not our houses, cars, our bank accounts. Everything is about the Most High, the Creator. So, um, understand what's coming. They have accelerated the agenda, and it's coming here to America last, but it's already here and there and everywhere. It's in the Caribbean, it's on the continent of Africa, it's in South America. Now it's headed to the European Union, and it's in India, it's in China, it's in a lot of places. They're implementing pilots here in America. I don't know if you don't pay for a subscription on YouTube, you can't hardly get through a video without ads advertising universal basic income or pilots for free money. They're doing everything they can to try to get as many ignorant people to sign up for this stuff, because they know people are desperate. They know people are greedy. They know people love money. They know they have impoverished so many of us that we're going to be looking to them for a solution. And I'm imploring to you all to be your own solution. Don't have to go to them for anything, and learn how to go without. This is going to be a season of discomfort and a season of primitive living. I keep saying it. We'll have to get back to the basics. It's going to be a lot of work, but a lot of people ain't going to be able to make it because they don't have the skills. Practice your primitive living, think primitively, and think discomfort. Like, we live in a very comfortable society, but it is going to change drastically real quick. Some people are going to have time to adapt, others will not. Some people are going to be able to adapt and survive, many will not, for a variety of reasons. So understand the times that we're living in. These people are going on with their agendas and their plans, and we don't have much of a say. It's biblical prophecy, so you got to look at it as if um, it's happening. It's been prophesied. It's going to happen, but I want to be found worthy to escape all of it, and I'm gonna try to get my life together. That's all we can do. So keep prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High, repent daily for your sins of commission and sins of omission. Keep the Sabbath, the lunar Sabbath. And I'm going to do a video on the lunar Sabbath today so that you can understand what's happening and how, again, we have to keep learning. And I really don't think there is room to not get this right. We keep making excuses and following, false prophets, teachers who tell you, oh, it's okay, you can't do XXX thing. If you can, you should try. And if you can't, you need to repent and talk to the Most High about it. But, it's very difficult for a lot of us to keep Sabbath because we have to work during the week, and the adversary has set it up that way so that you will be disobedient. The whole thing about us being here in captivity is about disobedience. The whole thing about your job, your employer, your paycheck is to enslave you so that you will be disobedient to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Um, everything about this system is the complete opposite of what we're supposed to be doing, from the calendar to how we work to debt to the way that we think individually instead of communally. So it's got to fall. It's going to fall. And they know it. They, being the powers, they know. So we're just collateral damage. So we need to be prepared for what's coming. All right. I'm going to end this video. Please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell notification so that you'll be notified anytime I upload new content. Follow me on Rumble and Odyssey. In the event that this channel is taken down, which I don't think they're going to take it down because they do a very good job of suppressing the content and making sure nobody sees it. So in the event that they do take it down, you'll find me on Rumble and Odyssey. The links are in the description. I'll also be on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. Don't post there regularly, but in the event that I need to send out a distress call, if you subscribe there, you will get it. Links are in the description. If you like to support the channel, links are in the description. Any contributions are greatly appreciated. And also make sure you click on the links of the content that I use, because I try to source everything that I discuss, unless I'm just doing a discussion on my own about something that I'm talking about. But make sure you read the content in the description when I include links, so that you will you will have your own knowledge. Don't just believe what I say. Read for your own understanding, and then try to share that information with other people, because a lot of people don't understand how close we are to this system transitioning. And it's just going to be really sad to see so many people have took their time to focus on a whole bunch of stuff that don't matter, like sports and TikTok dance challenges and comedy and stuff like that. So Do what you can. Keep prepping, keep praying, keep seeking the Most High, obey those laws, statutes, and commandments, keep the Sabbath, repent daily for sins of commission and sins of omission. Try to live holy and righteous. It's hard, but we got to try and keep learning, because when this system goes down, when the power goes out, that internet goes down, when it comes back up, it's going to be game over. And we all going to have to make tough choices. And it may mean you may not have access to the internet anymore. It may mean that you may not get the Bible as it was. And so whatever you have in your head and in your heart is all you're going to have. So try to find as many like-minded people as possible. But if not, guess what? It's on you. We all got our own cross to bear. And well, not cross. We all have our own problems that we got to carry. We got our own lives that we got to be concerned about. And we don't need anybody to help us with them, because the Most High has equipped us with everything we need. All we need is Him. Look up, because that's the only place your help gonna come from, and He's gonna tell you what you need to do in order to make it through. All right, y'all, this is Marla K, and I am out.